Hello. Thank you so much. I'm so humbled and honored to be here. This is just always so fun for me. I love being able to teach about what we have, often referred to as the Backward Pharmacist. You may have seen one of my interviews or two with Darren Jensen, our president and CEO. And he was really interested to hear what it was that really made me think about the way I think. And I wish I could give you one set small thing, except the most important thing is that I've always really cared deeply about other people and how they do. And I find that with so many people in LifeVantage. So most importantly, I did not see that happening with our current medicine. I didn't see it happening when I was handing out prescriptions. I would see people come in and then come back for more and more, but yet I wasn't seeing them better. And so I was forever on a search to see different things, and I had great experiences with lots of things. But most importantly, it's always been research in the back of my mind. That's why I formulated. I was always looking for that next thing. When I came across this, I was so very excited. And here's what I want to tell all of you. I was told about this from a surfer. Did you hear me? A surfer. A doctor didn't tell me. A researcher didn't tell me. I did not find this in my research. I was told about this from a surfer. I was told about this from a dear friend of mine that cared about me. And I want to tell you that first and foremost, because we go into some science, sometimes it's kind of deep, and we go into a lot of sales things and business. But most important, this is about caring about people. So I love what Brandon spoke of. Those 10 people. Think about those 10 people and what an impact you can have on their life based on what we've had happen with us. So having said that, I want to get started real quick because there's a lot of information and I know we don't have a lot of time. And so let's get started. First and foremost, when I found out about this product, it was by somebody. He did share with me about a study. He told me about the LSU study on melanomas. I was going through breast cancer and melanoma, as you heard earlier, and I wasn't doing very well, to be honest. And so when he brought that forward to me, I have to admit, I rolled my eyes a little and said, okay, I'll look. Because there's never any real science on nutrients. And when I saw there was, that's what turned me on. So let's take a look real quick about what I got excited about. And that is the ability, something that I had not seen before, and that was for the ability of our bodies to actually activate and to actually utilize their own abilities. And that's so much more powerful than anything that I had experienced through supplementation, through medications. First and foremost, what's this thing on health decline? You know what? We go into our 20s and 30s and we're feeling great and everything's everything's working on all cylinders and everybody's happy. And then all of a sudden we get that little gray hair and we get that little wrinkle and then, oh, that little ache and pain. And things start on a slow decline, right? So one of the things that can create that is that we have something, the first theory that they thought of that's got probably the most history is the theory that oxidative stress was one of the reasons that we age. And if you look on here, you're going to be able to see all the different systems that oxidative stress affects. It can be the heart, the skin, the eyes, the brain, the lungs. I mean, virtually every system we have is affected by oxidative stress. And so what the heck is oxidative stress? Basically, it's the body being bombarded, all right? So if you take a look at some of the things that can cause that, it's everyday things. It's things like the things that we're eating. It's things like medications that maybe you're taking, or alcohol, or toxins, or pesticides, rigorous exercise. Who knew that rigorous exercise could be creating something not great, right? We're trained to think exercise is what really is the best thing for us. But here's the important thing that you need to know. As we start aging, our body's abilities to keep up with all of these things that are causing stress in our cells, we're not able to keep up with it. And so as a result of that, what we have to do is we have to flip the switch. We do need to try to eat the best we can. We do need to try to continue to move and to keep things going like we did when we were younger. But most importantly, we want to also be able to give our body that little, if you will, turbo, kind of that flipping the switch. And we're going to do that by utilizing this Protandim NRF2 synergizer. What it does is it helps turn on this NRF2 pathway. And why that is so important is, if you see here, it says it's the pathway responsible for antioxidant production. Well, remember we talked oxidative stress? Basically what that is it's all this trash building up in our cells, and we have a mechanism in our cells that takes care of it. And so we want that to operate at its optimum again. And we get that done by having these 5 wonderful ingredients in small amounts, not large amounts like a lot of supplementation we'll see, but small amounts. And when we have that happen, look at the benefits that we can see when we have this NRF2 pathway. It's going to lower that oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days. Now, I will tell you, if you get out there, and I will challenge you, go look and see. There's several companies now because they saw what we were doing and they wanted to do it too. So you get out there, and I've seen some companies, I will not mention their names, but they have lost their minds on, had massive launches with products that are reducing oxidative stress by 7% in 6 months. I know that that's a benefit, but it doesn't hold a candle to 40% in 30 days. And let me tell you, this is something that's been tested and in real science, all right? We also see an increase in superoxide dismutase, and I don't want to get into all these chemicals, but also glutathione. The thing you need to know is these antioxidants are so much more powerful on the inside of our bodies than what we can get from the outside. It doesn't mean that you're not going to take your orange juice or your grapes or all of the things that we know that are powerful antioxidants on the outside, but they're not going to come close to being able to take care of this. We want to be able to have our own body's ability. Look at this, supporting the body's natural ability to repair and rejuvenate its own cells. There's nothing more powerful than our God-given body. And so we want to support the detoxification process the best we can. And look at this. Those enzymes we just talked about, they are capable of neutralizing more than 1 million free radicals. And you know what? That's in a very short period of time. So when we take a look at our approach, we're talking about, and I'm going to quickly slide through here because I want to get through all these slides, but when we take a look at this, we're talking about one free radical being able to neutralize 1 molecule of oxidative stress from taking things like blueberries or oranges. These free radicals, we can get there eating foods to a little bit of an extent. But when we can take care of millions of free radicals eliminated each time, there's no comparison. And when you see this little chart, take a look at this. It doesn't matter 20, 30, 40, 80. Without Protandim, you're seeing oxidative stress keep going up. With Protandim NRF2 Synergizer, we actually give the body a fighting chance. And that's really the most important thing that we're talking about here. So what got me excited to take a look was that my background has to do with lots of research, and we had over 25 peer-reviewed journal publications. Actually, I think we're over 30 at this point. And here's all the different ones that we had publications in. It's everything from the Journal of Dietary Supplementations to Aging to the Circulation by the American Heart Association. It's because every cell in our body is affected by this, and that means it's going to deal with lots of different functions. So when you take a look at the universities involved, see this Louisiana State University? That was the study that I saw that helped me realize this was real science. It was real because it had this product, exactly what's in that bottle in that study. And what really made me excited and get involved with really wanting to share and have a moral obligation to telling other people was when I saw this next statement. This is from Washington State University. NRF2 is likely to be the most important health promoting approach in the foreseeable future. NRF2 may become the most extraordinary breakthrough in the history of health and medicine. Think about that. It's not this decade, this century, in the history. For me, that was just so exciting. And so when the NRF2 information was there for me, that led me to look further. And that brings us to our second theory of aging, which is mitochondrial health. When we have mitochondrial decline, when we think about our cells, we think about all the little entities that are inside it. That NRF2 pathway we talked about is inside the nucleus, but we also have a structure in our cell called mitochondria. That is what takes food and oxygen and gives us energy. It's the power pack of the cell. Notice here it says the body needs constant power to run. That's the mitochondria, right? We need it for everything from our heart to our brain. Every cell function requires energy. And so we're constantly fixing things. But as that oxidative stress builds up that we talked about, we get damage to that mitochondria. And a funny thing about that mitochondria is when it's taking that food and that oxygen, guess what? One of its byproducts is actually oxidative stress. It actually produces something called a free radical. That's just part of taking in that oxygen and what happens. And so we have to have a solution. Our own body has that NRF2 pathway to balance the cell. So we have the mitochondria making the energy and the NRF2 to take out that waste. But as we start to age, guess what? The mitochondria slow down over time. That's why we have our mitochondrial product, Protandim NRF1. The NRF1 pathway is what is responsible for mitochondrial biogenesis. Fancy word for we make mitochondria. We actually can make more of them, right? That's why you go to the gym. That's one of the ways that you can make mitochondria. You go to the gym and you work out, and that creates more mitochondria. But this NRF1 pathway can also be activated through a product, and that's why we have it. And what I love is through these 5 ingredients in small amounts again, we're going to see increased cellular energy. Who does not need more energy? I can tell you I need it every day, all the time, chasing a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 9-month-old right now. I need all the energy and help I can get. And you know what? The thing that's so important is it's not even about just the energy. It's about that's what keeps our cells intact and keeps it functioning properly for whatever it is that we need, including things like sleep quality. That's really important. That's when we repair at night. You sleep at night, that's when all the work gets done. So it also will help with cognitive and brain health. And you know what? I don't know anyone that doesn't need a little bit of help with that fogginess that we can have, or even having our circulation and our heart work better. So I got very excited about the NRF1 as well, because now we have more or less the yin and the yang in the cell, right? We have the worker bee, and then we have the cleanup crew, okay? And then, as if that isn't enough, we have a third theory of aging, and that has to do with something called sirtuins. Now, I don't know how many of you've heard recently, but there are lots of studies going on and lots of information about people doing intermittent fasting and about doing very heavy caloric restrictions. Well, one of the reasons, well, the main reason they do that, it's sort of a reset button, if you will. That's because by doing that, they're going to start helping our sirtuins to be created. It's a protein. It kind of kicks off or signals our body that we need that to happen again. And what that sirtuin does, if you take a look, those sirtuins are very responsible for helping along with that waste. Remember, the NRF2 does that. Well, this kind of kicks it up a notch. And it also will slow down if we don't have enough of it. So it's some of the things that can occur. We also have a process called autophagy. This is really important for people like me who have a history of cancer. One of the things we want to make sure of is that when we have a cell, when it's gotten kind of banged up and it's beaten up from all the bad things that can happen to it, we do need the body to be able to signal to it, it's time for it to go, and that it needs to die. Otherwise, what happens is those are some of the cells that go on and start doing all the wrong things and can become a cancerous cell. All right. So it's really important when you take a look that it's helpful for mental and physical energy. And most importantly, for all the things it does, healthy DNA function. By having good, healthy DNA function, when you have sirtuins, you're going to have a lot of good things happen. So what do we come up with? Of course, an NAD synergizer. Now, NAD is the pathway to help create the sirtuin activity. It's going to help us to increase that sirtuin activity. So we have these 4 ingredients to help bring about our sirtuin proteins activating again. And when we see that happen, look at the benefits. Oh my gosh, everything from healthy longevity. Who cares how long we live if we're not healthy, right? We want to feel fit and good while we're living long. It improves mental focus and concentration. Some of the things that I really love about it are the fact that it really helps with the inflammatory processes. It keeps cholesterol levels already in a healthy range. That is really important, and it really helps support our vascular system. That's our heart and our blood vessels. So you can imagine when you take all 3 of these things together, what I love most is you don't have to take my word for it. We've actually done some studies to say, okay, each one of them work great, but what happens? See, here's how they do by themselves, which is great. These are some of the genes that they're helping to express. Look what happens when we put them together. It's unbelievable. This is going to give our NRF2 synergizer, wow, look at the boost there. By taking all 3 together, this synergistic is so much stronger than just simple addition. And that's why we talk a lot about our tri-synergizer working together for a very balanced activation in our cells. And so as we talk about that, I absolutely love the activation that we have from these products. And at a later date, in fact, it won't be long, you know, we all have convention coming. You're going to hear me talk about quality controls, and I'll go into that, so don't miss that. But what I would like to mention briefly is we do have other products too that are so good at activating. Axial, oh my goodness, this is the #1 way to activate your brain. This is NRF2 being able to get to your brain and be able to activate it. Our probiotic, you know what? Each one of those ingredients and those activators, the synergizers, are small amounts. If we don't have our gut health properly balanced, guess what? We won't absorb them as well as we can or optimize them as well as we can. So it's really important. And the reason we didn't come up with a probiotic just to add another product. Please take the time to learn about this product. Some of you have probably heard me. I can talk hours on this probiotic because you know what? It does something many others cannot do, and that is it gets through the stomach acid 60 to 70%. That's unheard of. And then it delivers proper probiotics to the right place. That's important because if the wrong ones get in the wrong place, it can be more damaging than help. So we want it to be in the right place. And then of course our omegas, that's gonna take our NRF1, our NRF2, our probio, and our omega to make up our vitality stack. The reason we came up with an omega is because we wanted to have one that was pure. We know exactly from the boat to the bottle what's in it. We don't have to do all kinds of crazy filtrations and all kinds of weird things because there's not bad things in it to begin with. It's very clean fish, and it gives you the proper omega-3 balance. Very, very important to have the proper ratio between omega-3 and 6s. This helps, and right now it's really important to get D3, and we've added that into that omega. So as you can see here, we've got some other products. I don't want to forget about our furry friends. We've got the NRF2 product there too, to help really with our furry friends and give them the same things that we're taking a look at and needing. Oxidative stress being reduced. And our skincare, well, that Louisiana State study was about P53. It was about skin cancer. And they told our company, you would be crazy not to develop a skincare line. And I am here to tell you, I'm very grateful that they have, because I think it makes a significant difference. And today it is still currently the only NRF2 based skincare that actually increases your UV protection instead of removing it like many other products. So thank you so much for letting me take the time to go over our products. I hope that it wasn't too scientific. I hope I could help make it simple. The bottom line is, you know what? This is about activating this. We need our own bodies to do the work, and we have the ability to do that. So we're not stuck with what happened to grandma and grandpa. We have the ability to have some healthy choices and to be able to help our bodies to activate to the best they can be.